XRP is in absolute freefall, and the market is bleeding. This isn't just another red candle. This is a gut punch for everyone holding bags right now. Just hours ago, panic erupted as XRP tumbled lower than anyone expected, shattering support levels and erasing months of slow gains. Feeds are nothing but fear and shock, and you can almost feel the collective anxiety with every tick down. If your stomach dropped and you're wondering if it's game over for XRP, you're not alone. But before you make any knee-jerk decisions, stop right here. This crash is different, and if you only react with the crowd, you're almost guaranteed to lose. I've been through moments like this before, and there's always a story no one is talking about. Most traders right now are making the classic mistake: panic selling, missing the clues hidden beneath the chaos, and guaranteeing they'll regret it the minute the dust settles. The truth is, most people will miss what's about to happen next, and I need you to be on the right side of this move. Let's break down what's really happening and how you can come out stronger. Only hours ago, XRP holders woke up, or maybe stayed up, watching prices nosedive in real time. It all started with an unexpected headline rattling through financial wires, a regulatory warning, igniting fears about looming crackdowns on crypto. Within minutes, Bitcoin shuddered, then XRP took the brunt, triggering a waterfall of liquidations across the major exchanges. Whales started dumping millions in XRP, sending automated trading bots into overdrive, and a tidal wave of red swept the order books. Twitter and Telegram exploded. Screenshots of plunging charts, desperate posts about meltdown stop losses, and influencers arguing whether this was the start of something catastrophic or the chance of a lifetime. Panic hit retail traders hardest. All it took was one massive wallet moving tens of millions to an exchange to get people slamming the sell button, just as network congestion made transactions slower and spreads wider. Some headlines screamed XRP rug pull, while others whispered rumors of inside info, fueling the fear. Discords and Reddit threads flooded with questions. Is this the end for XRP? Should we cut our losses? Meanwhile, the mainstream media only added gasoline. Stories about potential crackdowns, interviews with so-called experts warning that the bubble was finally bursting. It all felt like coordinated chaos, with fear feeding on itself. But beneath the noise, there were signals that most missed. Whale wallets stopped selling at the lowest points. Certain market makers quietly resumed buying as soon as retail capitulation peaked. The funding rates began to shift, suggesting an invisible hand was at work. If your heart's racing every time you click refresh, you're not alone. Almost every XRP holder is feeling the sting, the regret of not taking profits earlier, the worry that this could get much worse. But as the noise peaks, remember, not every crash is what it seems, and in times like these, the smartest traders are looking for more than just headlines. Stay tuned to spot what others are ignoring. When a crash hits this hard, the vast majority of traders react on pure emotion. Fear is contagious, and most people instinctively pull the trigger to sell, desperate to stop the bleeding before a dreaded drop to zero. Scrolling social media, all you see are red arrows, dramatic breakdown videos, and people announcing they're never touching XRP again. But here's the truth. This kind of crowd following is exactly what separates those who survive and thrive from those who get permanently burned out of the market. Here's where the contrast couldn't be sharper. 90% of the market only sees devastation, convinced the smartest move is to cut losses immediately and walk away. But the reality, time after time, is that these emotional exits often cost people dearly. Panic sellers get out right as the volatility peaks, missing both the recovery and the strategic buying opportunities that almost always appear in the darkest hour. If you look behind the scenes using on-chain data, the picture is different from the headlines. During previous crashes, whale wallets have absorbed massive dumps from retail, quietly accumulating while everyone else is running for the exit. I've seen this pattern play out before. Last year, a similar cascade hit after negative SEC news. A close friend in our community panic sold on the dip, locking in a huge loss, only to watch XRP rebound over 60% in the following weeks. Others who held their nerve, guided by historic support levels and wallet analysis, were able to not only recover, but actually double down and ride the comeback. In every cycle, retail gets shaken out, while those who dig into the on-chain clues find opportunity in chaos. So, if you're glued to your screen feeling the need to act fast, stop and ask, are you following the crowd or are you looking beneath the surface? The crowd panics, the smart money prepares. That's where the real story begins. Now let's talk charts because emotion is loud, but the chart tells a cleaner story. XRP is sitting at a level where bulls either defend it or lose the move. First, I'm watching RSI. When RSI gets oversold and starts curling up, that tells you selling pressure may be fading. If RSI stays weak and keeps making lower lows, then the market is still in control of bears. Next, look at the EMAs. The 13 and 50 EMA are battlefield levels. If price stays below them, rallies can fail fast. If it reclaims them, that's first sign of momentum shifting. Support and resistance are the next clues. If XRP holds the support zone, buyers are defending the line, and whales may slowly probe for entries. You'll usually see that in the candles before you hear it in the headlines. Long lower wicks, fast rebounds, and higher lows. Volume matters too. Green volume should expand when price rebounds, while red volume should fade on the pullback. If every bounce gets met with heavier selling, that's a warning. But if buyers absorb the dip and volume starts to turn, the market is telling you the selling may be running out for now. Here's where whales step in. Not when everyone is cheering, but when fear is thick and liquidity is cheap. They look for weak hands, clean levels, and signs that panic is drying up. A candle that wicks hard below support and snaps back fast can be a clue. So can a higher low after a brutal sell-off. I'm also watching whether the next push gets rejected immediately or builds a base. Rejection means more downside risk. A base means the market is preparing for the next move up. That's the difference between noise and opportunity for patient traders right now. So, if you're asking where XRP goes from here, I'd say this. The next move depends on whether support holds and whether buyers prove conviction. If the chart reclaims moving averages and volume confirms it, the recovery can happen faster than most expect. If not, we could see one more painful flush before the market resets. Don't guess. Watch RSI, EMAs, support, resistance, and volume together. That combination will tell you whether this is a trap, a turnaround, or the start of something much worse. And that's why the next few candles matter more than the last few headlines today. While panic floods the headlines and most traders are glued to falling prices, the smartest investors are studying the data nobody else is watching. On-chain analysis reveals huge XRP transfers quietly flowing into cold storage wallets, a classic signal that whales are moving coins off exchanges, not dumping but accumulating away from the frenzy. These moves seldom make it to breaking news, but they're the breadcrumbs left by those with serious conviction. Whales don't buy into euphoria, they buy into capitulation, when liquidations are done and fear is exhausting itself. If you dig deeper, the past is full of these patterns. During the massive crash after the SEC's initial XRP lawsuit, those who watched wallet flow noticed that while retail was panic selling, several massive addresses were steadily adding to their stacks. Fast forward 6 months, and despite all the noise, XRP nearly doubled from its lows as the dust settled and buyers snapped up cheap coins. The media rarely covers it while it's happening, but the biggest gains come from acting on data before the headlines catch up. This is why the best investors don't flinch in chaos, they position themselves for the next chapter while everyone else is still reliving their fears. They spot the lull in selling volume, the sudden inflow to self-custody, and the drop in exchange balances that signal the bottoming process is beginning. That's not to say it's risk-free or that every crash is a perfect buy, but history shows that those with the strongest hands and the clearest data-driven conviction often ride out the storm with the most upside. While the herd runs for the exit, the battle-tested have started quietly accumulating, setting themselves up for the next rally. If this cycle repeats, as it so often does, the winners are those who can see through the panic and capitalize on moments others are too fearful to act. Find out how to separate real signals from noise, because the next stage could decide who regrets selling and who celebrates holding. Right now, as the market is shaking out weak hands and social feeds are screaming sell, I'm deliberately holding tight to my XRP position. I'll be real with you, this isn't easy. My heart's racing just like anyone else's watching 5-figure swings in a matter of minutes. I won't pretend I'm immune to the fear. I've watched friends and even my own trades get crushed in past crashes. But experience has taught me that panic decisions invite regret. Back in 2022, I sold into a wave of fear after a news bomb, only to watch XRP rebound and leave me behind. I promised myself I wouldn't get shaken out so easily again. Today, my approach is different because I've learned to trust planning over feelings. I'm not piling in with reckless buys, but I'm certainly not being scared into a full exit either. I'm using this volatility to recheck my allocation, making sure I'm not overexposed but refusing to dump just because the crowd's terrified. I'm also hedging a portion of my position with tight stop losses and small, strategic limit orders in case whales push us even lower before the turn comes. That way, if we get a final squeeze, I'll have ammo to buy on the deepest dip. Most importantly, I'm watching for signs, not headlines, but on-chain accumulation and a reversal in momentum before making any major moves. Mentally, I am reminding myself that this discomfort is exactly what creates big winners. If you're feeling rattled, know you're not alone, but don't let short-term pain make you miss long-term gain. This time, I'm staying disciplined, prepared, and ready instead of becoming another fearful casualty. Don't let this crash define your journey. Let's learn from the mistakes of last cycle and position ourselves for the rebound instead. Looking forward, there are two major scenarios ahead, and both will test the nerves of every XRP holder. In the short term, over the next 7 days, the doom case is a further breakdown if weak sentiment keeps driving selling. If XRP loses the current support and macro fear lingers, price could retest lows not seen since the last major regulatory scare. Fast sell-offs often overshoot, and it wouldn't be shocking to see XRP dip 10 to 15% lower, at least temporarily, before buyers step in. But if strong hands hold and whales resume accumulation, a sharp relief bounce can happen just as quickly as the drop arrived. Sometimes these reversals are sudden, leaving unprepared traders in disbelief. Over the next 30 days, regulatory headlines will be decisive. If the SEC or global agencies throw new curveballs, volatility could spike again, keeping XRP stuck in a turbulent range, possibly between recent lows and mid-resistance levels. Meanwhile, positive partnerships or new exchange listings have the power to flip the mood almost overnight. If those announcements arrive, we could see XRP stabilize, base out, and start building towards recovery. My confidence range for the month, highly volatile, with 25 to 30 cent swings. The 90-day outlook leans on bigger variables. Will the Ripple SEC situation find resolution, and will global macro news, like inflation, interest rates, or even major elections, stabilize risk sentiment? If good news breaks or crypto-wide sentiment turns, XRP could easily recover 50% or more from the crash lows. But if legal clouds persist or economic headwinds worsen, it may stay range-bound, forcing patience from even the strongest holders. My confidence range here is wider, but the pattern is clear. The largest moves follow the greatest fear. So, what do you predict? Do you see a fast recovery, or are you bracing for even tougher lows? Drop your honest forecasts in the comments. Your insights, especially during high-stress markets like this, can help the whole community stay alert and prepared for what comes next. In moments like these, the real strength of our community shines. Just last week, a comment on our Discord stood out. I used to panic sell every dip, but now I look at the volume and whale moves before touching my position. Haven't regretted it once since. Another viewer shared how holding through past crashes made her stronger, teaching patience and conviction. Her story mirrored the hesitant nerves many feel right now. One subscriber wrote, "The biggest profits I ever made came when I bought what everyone else was afraid to touch." These stories prove that wisdom isn't just found on charts. It's born from experience and the willingness to learn from mistakes. We've all lost sleep, suffered losses, or celebrated when intuition paid off. What's most powerful is when we turn those moments into lessons for others, so nobody goes through the hard stuff alone. If you've survived a crash, share your story below and let us know what you wish someone had told you when panic first hit. If you have a strategy, drop it here. Your insight might be what keeps the next person strong. We rise, recover, and win together as a community. First, set actionable alerts on your trading platform at key support and resistance levels so you never react late. This helps you trade with a plan, not pure panic. Second, do your own research beyond the headlines. Dig into on-chain activity, exchange balance shifts, and whale movements, because data-driven decisions beat gut reactions every single time. Third, make sure you're plugged into a strong, active community, because facing these markets alone almost always leads to mistakes. If you're not already, join our Discord where real traders share live updates, answer questions, and support each other through the dips and the rebounds. Make sure you like and subscribe for real-time breakdowns so you're never out of the loop when the market twists again. Remember, strategy and support are what separate winners from quitters during crashes. If you're feeling stressed or uncertain, know this: you're not alone. We've weathered bigger crashes, harsher headlines, and crazier uncertainty before, and every single time this community has come out wiser and stronger on the other side. It's easy to focus on the losses right now, but remember, after every rough patch, new opportunities appear for those willing to stay patient, keep learning, and support one another. The upside always belongs to those who refuse to give up when the pressure is highest. That's why this community matters now more than ever. When others tap out, we band together, trade ideas, and help each other spot the next move before the crowd does. Make sure you're subscribed and in the Discord, because tomorrow I'll reveal my deep dive roadmap for XRP's comeback and how to capitalize when the market finally flips direction. Don't let today's fear steal your future wins. Share your experience or strategy in the comments below, and let's rally together. Every crash is a new test, but together we'll help each other win the next wave. Stay sharp, stay strong, and I'll see you in the next one.